Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down complex topics into clear visual stories. Today, we're tackling something that's really set to change the game for anyone building with generative AI. It's a tool that promises to make things way faster and a whole lot simpler. So let's just dive right in and talk about Amazon Bedrock Flows. All right, so to really get our heads around what makes Bedrock Flows tick, we're going to break this down into 5 simple parts. First up, we'll tackle the big problem this thing is actually designed to solve, what I like to call the Gen AI puzzle. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the Gen AI puzzle. You have this amazing idea for a generative AI app, right? But, and it's a big but, there's this massive canyon between a cool little prototype and something that's actually ready for the real world. So let's get into why that is. So why is this so darn hard? I mean, seriously. If you've ever tried to build a really complex AI app, I bet this question has given you a headache or two. You think, I've got this incredible model. What's the big deal? Well, it turns out the model, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because it's not just about the AI model. It's this tangled web of everything else. You've got the models, you've got your own data sources, you've got specific business logic, and a bunch of API calls. The real nightmare is trying to make all of those pieces talk to each other without falling apart. It just becomes a spaghetti monster of code, and fast. So, okay, how do you untangle that mess? Well, that's exactly where Amazon Bedrock Flows steps in. Think of it as a totally fresh approach designed to smooth out that whole chaotic process of building and deploying Gen AI apps. So what is it exactly? Well, at its heart, Bedrock Flows is a visual tool. It's a low-code way to manage or orchestrate all your AI workflows. Basically, it lets you connect all those different parts of your app without having to write endless pages of tedious boilerplate code. Yeah, the best way to picture it is like a smart flowchart for your AI. Instead of getting lost in lines and lines of code just to handle API calls and move data around, you're literally just dragging and dropping boxes to map out the entire logic. It's a huge shift. Okay, so how does this all actually work under the hood? Let's break it down and look at the actual building blocks of Bedrock Flows. The whole thing is based on just a few really simple but super powerful ideas. First, you have the flow itself. This is your main canvas, your entire workspace. Think of it as the master blueprint for your application's logic, mapping out every single step from the moment a request comes in to the final output. And on that canvas, you place nodes. Now, these are the real Lego bricks of your system. Every single node is one specific action. It could be calling an AI model, grabbing some data from a database, or even running a bit of custom code. And how do you stick those Lego bricks together? With connections. These are literally just the lines you draw between nodes. They create the pathways that let data and instructions flow through your entire system, taking the output from one node and plugging it right into the input of the next. Simple as that. And you get this awesome toolbox packed with different kinds of nodes. You've got a prompt node to talk to your models, a Lambda function node for when you need to run some custom code, an agent node. The list goes on, but the one I really want to call out is the knowledge base node. This one is a huge deal. It's what lets your AI do something called retrieval augmented generation, which is just a fancy way of saying it can securely look up info in your own private documents. This means you get answers that are way more accurate and totally specific to your business. Then you've got something like the condition node. This is where your flow gets smart. It's basically a fork in the road. It lets you add if-then logic. So, for example, if the condition is true, data goes down one path. If it's false, it goes down another. You could say, check if a customer email contains the word urgent. If it does, boom, it gets sent down the high-priority path. If not, it just follows the standard route. Super powerful stuff. All right, so you've dragged and dropped, you've connected your nodes. You have this beautiful visual flow. Now what? How do you turn this pretty diagram into a real, live application that people can actually use? Well, the process is actually incredibly straightforward, and it's all about moving fast. It's really just 3 steps. First, you create your workflow in that visual builder. Second, you test it out. You can play with a working draft over and over again until it's perfect. And once you're happy, step 3, you deploy it. Now, this last part is really clever. The deployment uses a system of versions and aliases, which is basically your safety net. When you're ready to go live, you publish a version. Think of it as a permanent, unchangeable snapshot of your flow. Your actual app then just points to an alias, which is like a label, and you can stick that label on any version you want. So rolling out a new update is as simple as moving the label. And if something goes wrong, you just move the label right back to the old version. No code changes, no panic. It's awesome. Okay,
let's step back for a second and look at the big picture. Why does any of this matter? What's the real impact here? Let's talk about why this whole visual approach to building AI is, and I don't say this lightly, a total game changer.
It really boils down to three huge benefits. First, speed. You can prototype and build seriously complex, multi-step AI apps in a tiny fraction of the time it used to take. Second, simplicity. That low-code visual interface means you don't have to be a hardcore back-end engineer to build sophisticated stuff. It opens the door for so many more people. And finally, power. Don't let the simplicity fool you. You're still plugging into the full power of foundation models, your own data, and the entire AWS ecosystem. You're not sacrificing capability at all.
So when you put it all together, what Bedrock Flows really does is rip out all that tedious complexity from AI orchestration. It lets you stop worrying about the plumbing and start focusing on what you actually wanted to do in the first place: build incredible next-level applications. So it really just leaves you with one question, doesn't it? What are you going to build first?